Okay, so here we go with another DC Multiverse unboxing, and this is Kryptonite Doomsday from Superman Batman. And you can see illustration from the comic book with the bony, spiky protrusions on Doomsday are now Kryptonite, and they actually glow in the dark, which is really cool. So, anyway, let's go ahead and open them up. So, I've been over this DC Multiverse packaging in the past. Maybe one day I'll talk about it again, since it has been a while that I've been opening these figures. But I usually just don't have a whole lot to say about it. The I've always felt like this packaging is very bland, and probably could have been a little fancier. But maybe they just don't want to distract from the figure. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get him out of the package. And he's a biggin, because he's Doomsday, so he's got to be huge. And comes with a tiny little figure stand that all these figures come with. It's a matte black figure stand with a glossy DC logo embossed onto it. I don't know how that figure stand would actually hold the figure up, but it's nice that he comes with one. And then we got the trading card. So there's that same piece of artwork we saw on the back. That's what the back looks like. And it reads, Kryptonite Doomsday, Superman Batman, data file, real name Joshua Walker. Once a simple Kansas farm boy, Joshua Walker wanted nothing more than to make his parents proud and serve his country. Knowing service meant sacrifice, Walker volunteered for Amanda Waller's Last Line experimental program. Using kryptonite as a bonding agent, Joshua's DNA was intertwined with Doomsday's, mutating him into an unstoppable monster. Dubbed the All-American Boy, Walker's sole purpose became subduing Superman and, if necessary, kill the Man of Steel. So it's not the real Doomsday, but, whatever. I'm not 100% sure about this head sculpt. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's go ahead and get him out of the package. He's got a number of rubber tabs holding him in the package. And man, this X-Acto knife went dull fast, because I'm having a hard time cutting through. This is actually not a rubber tab. This is a hard plastic tab. You know what? I'm bringing out the big guns. Because somewhere over here, I should have my little snips. There we go. It'll cut through 3D printer filament. It'll cut through that crap. All right. And all of these seem to be rather have a little bit of distance between the package and the figure. And I like that, because then I can actually reach in and do that. So that's cool. Let's get him out of the package. And of course, I prefer my my tried and true Doomsday with his just regular white bony protrusions, rather than these fancy kryptonite ones. But as we read on the trading card, this actually isn't supposed to be that character. It's supposed to be a different character. And I never read that storyline, so I wasn't really familiar with that. I know you guys aren't used to hearing me say I'm not familiar with a character, because that's not something that happens all that often. But in this case, it did. So I'm going to set that aside. And he is a pretty massive figure, as we're used to with some of these larger figures. For the most part, they could have used this this figure to make a regular Doomsday figure, and I think they probably have at some point, but I've never seen it. So he's pretty cool, though. And you can see that, like, the green spikes, they even in the light, they look kind of like they glow. So but yeah, I brought him home and I set him aside, and when I turn off my lights to go to sleep, I noticed that that the spikes were glowing, and I'm like, that's really cool. I like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. So Doomsday can't look up very far. He can look down about that far. He can kind of tilt his head kind of quickly from side to side, rotate the head, all the way around, but his dreadlocks are going to bump into these spikes, but it should, in theory, rotate all the way around. I'm not going to bother with it. I don't know if this is what the character looks like in the comic, because, like I said, I haven't read the comic, and the trading card just shows his hand rather than, the whole, like, his head or anything. But he's got, like, these kind of dreadlocks, like the Predator. So he doesn't have the same exact hair as, like, the regular Doomsday just kind of had, like, a tuft of hair coming out the back, and, like, I think a few kind of strands here and there. But this guy's got the like I said, the Predator dreadlocks. So, and he does have a hinged jaw, but unfortunately, it doesn't open up quite as far as I would like. It still opens. It's nice that they have a hinged jaw in there. I think that makes the figure look a little better when his mouth is open a little bit. So his arms rotate all the way around at the side, and unusually for one of these larger figures, he does kind of have the butterfly joints here, but they don't seem to really have a whole lot of wiggle room since they're so big. And he's got the spikes on his shoulders. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow that you can see it bends about that far. He's a very muscle-bound figure, and then that rotates all the way around. And then he's got wrists that rotate all the way around and have, at least on this wrist, it has a vertical hinge, so you can move it up and down. I guess he's one of those that's, like, too bulky to have the typical Mcfarlane articulation at the wrist. And then this wrist rotates all the way around, and it looks like it also has a vertical hinge. So there's that. You can rotate all the way around where the rib cage meets the abs, and there's a little bit of wiggle room there, so you can get some good dramatic poses out of them. Of course, the same kind of articulation where the abs meet the trunks. So there we go. Doomsday can kick up about that far, which is not very far at all, because he's a very muscle-bound figure. But, it's not like Doomsday as a character in the comics is, like, particularly agile. You're not going to try to get him into, like, Spider-Man type positions. So it's probably good enough for a character like this. He's got a single joint of articulation at the knee. That's about how far that bends, so it's not really very far at all. And it does have some rotation there, so you can rotate that all the way around. His ankle can point down about that far, point up about that far, and then it rotates all the way around. And does he have a boot cut? No. And normally I don't complain about Mcfarlane figures not having a boot cut, since they normally have the really cool ankle articulation, but on the larger figures you don't really get that. So I kind of feel like they probably should have given him a boot cut, and I think that would have helped with the articulation somewhat. But like I said, he's not really supposed to be a particularly agile, flexible character. So some of that I kind of feel like can be forgiven, but the boot cut I think would be a little more necessary. So other than, the green spikes that he has rather than, the bone white spikes like the original Doomsday had, other than that, his coloring is actually very similar. He's got dark green trunks with silver belts and straps about the thighs, boots that are the same color with the same kind of silver trim. There's some scraps of fabric wrapped around each of his biceps, which you can see the torn scraps of fabric around the waist, because, of course, when Doomsday originally showed up in the comic book, he was wearing, like, a full bodysuit that wound up getting torn off of him as the storyline went along. But even though technically this is not the same character as the original Doomsday, he looks close enough to the original Doomsday. You could probably just pretend it's that version. And if you really wanted to go old school, it wouldn't be too hard to repaint these spikes into that bone white color. And I'm not gonna lie, I had considered doing that. I thought, that might be a really cool look, and if I can get another one of these for cheap, I might still do it. But, like, I can't bring myself to paint over glow in the dark plastic. Like, if I had a second one, I'd do it. But I like glow in the dark stuff so much that even if they did a regular Doomsday, they could still do it with glow in the dark. It'd just be like, more the standard glow in the dark color rather than the bright green. But to me, this is a really great plastic to use to make Kryptonite. I know a lot of the times with Kryptonite, I'm pretty sure I have a chunk of Kryptonite still around here somewhere. I just saw one the other day. Yeah, here we go. Usually with Kryptonite, they'll mold it in like a translucent green plastic, and that works pretty well. But I think this actually works better. It's since it's glow in the dark, it's kind of just translucent enough. You can't really see through it, but there's still enough light that passes through it. Like I said, even in with my light on, it still kind of looks like it's glowing, and I think that's really cool. So really nice figure. Like I said, it's not the traditional version of Doomsday, so it's not my Doomsday, but it's still a really nice figure, and I think a nice representation of the character, even if technically it's not that character. But definitely it was worth picking up. I found him at Target the other day, and he was marked down, and I'm guessing he was one that had just gotten like moved to the side or something, or taken to the back and brought back out or whatever, because I hadn't seen a Doomsday at Target in quite a long time, and to find him and get him for a markdown price, that was pretty cool. But you can still find it on Amazon for retail price if you're looking for this guy. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you like and subscribe, and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so make sure that you like and subscribe, so that way YouTube will put my video out there more, and then more people will see it, and then more people will like and subscribe, and when they like and subscribe, the same thing will happen, and it'll be like a ripple effect. It'll just go on out there into the lake, and I'll just be like all over the YouTube lake, which that sounds weird to say that out loud, but whatever. So I really like this figure. I'm happy with how it turned out, and if I can get a second one, I'll probably redo them to look a little bit more like the traditional Doomsday, but I'm fine with them like this as it is. So anyway, next episode, I think I'm going to go ahead and open up the two Ninja Turtles items that I have that I've been wanting to open up, which one of them is this 2-pack, the Shredder Worms of Madness, and this is from the comic book where the Shredder was resurrected from the dead by the Foot Clan when they cloned him with worms, and that was a really weird storyline. So we've got both the more sort of traditional Shredder in his full gi and armor, and then this other kind of topless Shredder. So, but both figures look really cool. Oroku Saki, I suppose I should say. But these are both figures. They both look really cool. Obviously, the main one I wanted was the regular Shredder, but the Oroku Saki figures is pretty awesome too. So I'm excited about that. And I have the set from the movie with Casey Jones and the dirt bike that I've been sitting on those for a while. So we'll go ahead and open those up. I know a lot of you guys like Ninja Turtles. I like Ninja Turtles. I just don't get to open that many of them. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. So make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. I like it when you leave comments. Leave a comment and tell me what you think about Kryptonite Doomsday, who technically is a different character from regular Doomsday. And of course, regular Doomsday is the coolest one because he was the one that was in Death of Superman. He's the one that actually killed Superman. Superman killed him right back, but whatever. But yeah, I got the Cyborg Superman the other day. I got Superboy on pre-order, so he's going to be coming in. I got Steel a while back. I've got the it's not the Resurrection suit Superman, but it's a black and silver suited Superman from the Lois and Clark miniseries a few years back that I got in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store. So next order I get of that, I'll have that coming in, and I'm gonna customize a head for that with a mullet. So that'll be my Resurrection suit Superman. But yeah, so my Death of Superman action figure line is growing, and there's other figures that I could put in there too, like the blue Guy Gardner. He fits in with all that. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Next episode, I will be back with the Shredder Worms of Madness. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. All right. Take care. Have a good one. Talk to you next time. Bye.